Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Next Chapter Notes, where we talk about issues and challenges that women my age, over 55, face and have to deal with on a daily basis. Today, we're going to talk about, can your life be bigger after 55? And by bigger, I mean more interesting, more exciting, more fulfilling, more amazing. What do you think? Would you use those words to describe your life right now? That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, let's do some housekeeping. I do this every week. I ask you to tell me where you are watching me from. If you're in the Washington, D.C. area, like I am, I'm just outside of D.C. in Maryland. Love to know if you're in another part of the country. I've been hearing from people from the Midwest, friends that I've had in Texas. So I'd love to know where you are watching me from. For those of you who have been here before, welcome and thank you for your support. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I'm Constance Howard. I help women with that 3 a.m. moment. That moment when it's well before everybody in your house wakes up. It's well before you even have to wake up, but your eyes open and suddenly you start thinking about all of your responsibilities and expectations and all of the things that you have to do um, for the day, for the week, for the month. And you start to ask yourself, how did I get here? How did I get to this point where my life is just consumed with responsibilities and expectations, and I'm trying to be the caregiver for so many people, and I'm not even on that list. So if that sounds anything like you, reach out to me because I'd love to talk with you. I've had many 3 a.m. moments. And I'm an executive coach now. And so I help women create a bridge between the life they have now and the life they want. So reach out to me. Today, we're talking about, can your life be bigger after 55? There was a time when, as you got older, people thought, life was like your life was ending. There was no more excitement, no more new things, no more new adventures for you. I remember when I was growing up, I thought 40 was old. I would say that to my mom. It's like, wow, I can't even imagine being 40 and certainly not 50. And here I am sitting at 71, right? But at the time, I would just say to her, like, I don't want to be old, and she would just laugh. She would just laugh about it because she had a pretty full life. I grew up in a small town. You hear me talk about this all the time. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. And I think when people hear me say I grew up in a small town, they think it's like a couple of thousand people. But really, I'm telling you, this town was tiny. It was probably like, I think at our peak, there were 800 people who lived there. So chances are everybody knew everybody's business, right? And most of the people who lived there, their lives revolved around their work, their family, going to church. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I was a teenager and I wanted more. I wanted excitement. I wanted to be able to think, oh, I'm going this place next week or that place next week. I didn't want to, like all teenagers, we don't want to think about, well, I'm going to the high school to the prom. I mean, so I couldn't wait to get out of that town. And when I went to college, and certainly when I started my TV news career, it was like my world exploded. I got to meet and talk with people from all over the country. I got to go places that I only read about in books. I explored a lot of different things. I mean, it was just an exciting time. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. When you just started your career and everything was new and fresh, and you made mistakes, but that was okay because you were learning, you were just starting out. And for a lot of us, we didn't have a lot of responsibilities because we were just starting out. Many of us were not married at the time. I mean, think back on when you started in your career, how much fun it was to think about what you were going to do and how much money you were going to make at your next job, and what city you would live in, and all those new and exciting things. And some of it was scary, but that was okay because you were just starting out and it was all exciting, right? At least that's how I felt. And then, you know what happened. Over the years, you got more responsibilities, you got more promotions, you got more money, more problems. Isn't that what they say? Um, and suddenly, life wasn't about what was going to be new and exciting for you. Maybe it was what was going to be new and exciting for your children. What new opportunities, what new adventures were you going to provide for your family? And so you stopped asking yourself, what am I curious about? What would I like to explore? What would I like to see? And as the years go on, your world gets, smaller and smaller. After college and at the start of my careers, I said my life was like this. And then slowly it started to narrow. I remember when I decided to leave TV news, I took a good hard look at my life, and it revolved around work, my obligations and responsibilities, and going to church. And can I get enough sleep? Can I just get more than 5 hours of sleep? And that was my world. I wasn't thinking like what's new and exciting and where's the next place I was going, because I had been just weighed down with responsibilities and obligations and, all of the things. And my focus wasn't on me, it was on providing for somebody else. And I know many of you understand what I'm talking about, and I hope you put it in the chat. Just tell me a little bit about, how you started out, and then how over the years some of that just kind of drifted away. And we became consumed with all of the things we had to do and none of the things that we should do for ourselves. And so that's when our lives get smaller. That's when our lives get, pretty narrow, right? And we don't wake up with the excitement, because what is there to be excited about? Your days, at least my days, became a rinse and repeat of the day before, right? So when I decided to leave TV news, I decided that I wanted my life to be different. I wanted my life to reflect more of who I was 40 years ago. Now, let me just say, that's not to say that my TV news career was miserable and that my life was miserable. That would not be true. And I know for a lot of you, that's not true. You built really good careers and you've enjoyed those careers. And those careers provided you and your family with, excuse me, a life you would not have had otherwise. So when I talk about moving forward and creating a bigger life, I don't want you to think that I'm disparaging the life that you built, because I'm not. And I'm not disparaging the life that I built. I loved it. I was very blessed to have that life, but it got very small. And so when I decided to leave TV news, I decided I was no longer going to be Madam No. Madam No is the person who, opportunities come up. No, not this time. Madam No says, no, I can't go to that party or that dinner or, whatever it is. That's Madam No. And my life had become Madam No because it was so narrowly focused on work and trying to get enough sleep. So I decided that I was going to be the yes person. And I was going to expand my world by saying yes. If it was safe, if it was interesting, I said yes to it. And that's how we make our lives bigger. We start by saying yes. And we say yes to a new book to read, yes to meeting new people, yes to another opportunity that has nothing to do with your career, yes to stepping out of your comfort zone. That's how you expand your life. That's how your life becomes more interesting and more fulfilling. So when you step out there and decide that you're going to experience life and enjoy life. Now, listen, I know that all of us have responsibilities and we have bills to pay, and all of those things exist. But all of those things are going to always exist in our lives. We have to somehow learn to make our lives, ourselves, one of our priorities. And usually we don't. We put the priorities of everyone else ahead of ours. And we say no so that we can say, so that someone else can say yes to an opportunity, right? You say, no, I'm not going to go on vacation, but I'm going to make it so that my kids go on vacation. It's time now for you to say yes to you. Yes to exploring some of the things that you have been putting off, traveling, doing all the things that you thought, maybe not now. And let me just say that building a more expansive life, it doesn't mean that you have to go on overseas trips or spend a lot of money for the experience. You can expand your life by taking walks, taking up a new hobby, trying different things. I became Madam Yes. So I did wall climbing. I've done boxing. I've done, group exercise classes where I didn't know anybody and I was absolutely sure I embarrassed myself. No doubt whatsoever, but I don't care. I don't care because it's made my life more interesting. It's made my life um, more amazing. I look forward to various trips that I've taken. I've looked forward to them, and I'm looking forward to trips that are still, yet to be scheduled. I just recently came back from the opening of the Obama Presidential Library. That was a quick trip to Chicago with a very good friend, one of my besties, one of my inner circle people. Loved it. We had a fabulous time. For the first time, I had deep dish pizza, right? All of those things expand who you are. They expand your interests. They expand your life. And so I want you to think about this today. I want you to think curiosity does not stop at 55. Your ability to explore doesn't end when you turn 55. It doesn't end when you turn 60 or 70 or 80. It ends when you stop exploring. It ends when you stop seeking out new opportunities for yourself. That's when it ends. It ends because you have decided to stop. And I want you now to think about that. I want you to think, what adventure have I put off that I'm going to do this summer? What book am I going to pick up? Where am I going to go? What's next on your agenda? Make sure that you are on your agenda. Well, my next trip, I think, is going to be to Mexico at the end of October for the Day of the Dead. That's what my sister and I are planning. And I'm looking forward to that because I want to see the celebration. I want to join in with the fun and the laughter. And I want to, experience the people and the food and all of those things. And then I'll come back home and, there'll be a couple of weeks where I'm just consumed by my work and just everyday things. But every day I'll remember to take time for myself, to try something new, to read something that I haven't read before, to explore. I want you to invest time in you. That's what makes your life after 55 bigger. I hope this message has resonated with you. Put it in the chat what you plan to do at the end of the summer. What are your goals? In what ways are you going to make your life bigger? I would love to know. And please hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you'll be notified when new videos are posted. And also share this with a friend. I really would appreciate your support. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week for another episode in Next Chapter Notes. Take care, everybody.